Hello and welcome to a new podcast, it's a new podcast. If you hadn't guessed yet, it's a new podcast because you probably already knew that because you clicked on it and it had it in the title.
Sir, ma'am, and any genetically engineered life forms that happen to be wandering by, there appears to be a new podcast in the download tubes.
Welcome to the show.
Here are a few highlights of what to expect in this behemoth of an episode. Johnny invents an oral recycler.
I've got a plant right next to me in my office in the hope that the rubbish that comes out of my mouth will get recycled back into usable oxygen at some point. Robert looks at himself in the mirror.
I think great face for radio.
That's why we're here.
Johnny sails dangerously close to copyright infringement.
We all live in a nuclear submarine.
Patreons, you know who you are, and thank you so much for supporting us and what we do. Without you, well, our channels would be shut down and we would be without a voice or visuals.
If you would like to support us, please see the show notes for the Patreon links. Now, let's get on with this big, fat, sweaty, very large episode. Welcome to the new podcast.
That's brilliant. That is, we've got to use that every week.
I fear
that's the sting.
We could do a more urban one at a later point.
We could do one with some. Do you know what I was going to say, which is going to so reveal my age, with some scratching, you know, with a record where you spin it one way or the other. Yeah, because I was trying to be modern. I wasn't going to suggest a lute.
I think we should. We should do different genres of music every other week. If the truth be known, we're recording this on the day of the Shanghai Motor Show, the press day, where lots of Chinese manufacturers and other manufacturers are declaring their finest products. An awful lot of EVs.
It's a fascinating sign of changing times in that, you know, you all know this better than me, but so this is actually a question. But say 10 years ago, I don't know if the Shanghai Motor Show was running then. Presumably it was.
It was, but it was a fledgling affair.
Yeah, but 10 years ago it wouldn't been very big news, whereas now pretty much all the world's journalists and automotive industry watchers are looking at Shanghai to see what's coming in terms of specifically electric vehicles, because that's where people make electric vehicles. You know,
absolutely. I mean, you've got if you only need this one is every other year, so it swaps with Beijing.
Right.
And,
okay.
If you compare the rise in the popularity of these shows compared to, say, Detroit, which is declining, to the point where
that's getting smaller.
Lots of people, manufacturers, don't trade at Detroit Motor Show anymore, which I think is a real shame.
And presumably, like 25 years ago, Detroit would have been the motor show in the world, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Epicenter of car manufacturing.
Well, when I started as a motoring journalist, which was 21 years ago, it was the absolute epicenter, that and Geneva. Right. They were the two unmissable shows. A lot of people now, they don't even go out to Detroit, which is heartbreaking, really, for me. Yeah. But, the Chinese powerhouses and the west coast of America, that's where all the main shows are, really. Oh, New York Motor Show is on next week. So in the next podcast, we'll probably be talking about New York.
New York.
Have you got your cup of Joe? I say.
That makes me slightly worried about Joe and what Joe's been doing.
Well, that's what they say in New York, isn't it? About coffee? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just going by what I've read.
I've now got to reach over. For some reason, I brought my water bottle into my office so that I wouldn't get thirsty. And it's beyond the reach of my headphones, so I'm going to go offline for a very, very short time.
You must reach for...
Why did I put it?
Reach for your thirst quench.
There we go. It's in an completely unused part of my desk. But it is. I am using
It's a renewable bottle, Robert.
It is a renewable. It's a non-plastic beach water drinker. Well, it's hot or cold. It's a little thermos, in fact. So I've got chilled water.
Nice. Is that a spun aluminum affair, do we think?
I would say it's a spun aluminum. They do a lot of non-plastic beach. Really good. A lovely guy, Gareth Dean, runs the company, and I think I mentioned it on one of the news ones. And they do things like ear spoikers. What are they called? The earbuds.
The earbuds. Yeah,
but they're not plastic. They're made of wood.
Bamboo. I've seen they do bamboo toothbrushes. And
I used the bamboo toothbrush last night because I just suddenly found. I went, oh my god, it's all my non-plastic beach stuff, and I had to go. And it's something about it. It was better. It was nicer than a plastic one.
They do some awesome little beaker covers and stuff to replace cling film.
Yeah. I'm
enjoying their product reveals.
Yeah, no, they're good. The one I didn't get, and I went, well, why bother with that? Which was a little glass jar with tooth floss in it, and I went, well, that's a bit weird. A little glass bottle, tiny little glass bottle. It's got tooth floss in it. You can get replacement floss. There's no plastic involved. The floss is wound around a wooden stick, and the bottle is reusable and glass. And it's got a little silver top with a cutter on it, so you pull your floss out because you've got to floss. I mean, I don't know how many of my listeners.
I probably floss about every quarter. I probably floss. I know you're supposed to do it on a weekly basis, but the truth be known,
I do it. You see, I'm an obsessive. I do it I'm a daily and an interdental brushes thing. But I'm old, and I'm quite proud of my old dents. They're all a bit grey and battered, but they're all my own teeth at my age.
That is good. That is good. You don't. Obviously, you're talking about your mouth, not the dance known as the floss.
No,
because I can imagine you doing that every day in the privacy of your own home. But it's just one of those dances, no one will remember it in 2 years.
No, I don't think I've ever even privately done the floss dance.
I did. I tried. It's harder than it looks, actually. It's a lot harder. Can we?
But we could talk about some motor vehicles.
Yeah.
The one. Let me just quickly start because there was a story about I don't want to go on about it too much because I've just talked about it on a little news update on Fully Charged. But the rear-wheel drive Model 3 available in Europe and Asia, that it is clearly coming. There's been now lots of shots of right-hand drive Teslas. I'm very excited about it coming to the UK.
Brilliant.
But there was the funny thing about, I just think it was so funny. They have been delivering $35,000 Tesla Model 3s to customers in America.
Wow.
But actually, they're the $49,000 ones with things turned off.
Oh,
so like it's exactly the same as one that cost $49,000, down to the last bolt.
You mean it's all software?
It's all software. So it's got range limitation done by software. It's got heated seats that don't heat, but they've got the heaters.
But they've got the elements in it. So does that mean the smart money is buying one of those, and then in about 3 years' time, when you can work out a cheat
how
code,
to do it, you get an upgrade or
you
whatever.
can suddenly hack into it and make the seats warm up. This is brilliant.
No streaming Spotify. It's got lots of restrictions on it, but it's essentially. I mean, this is a report and I'm very sorry because I can't remember it because I haven't got it in front of me. I think it was Electrek reported.
I have to say, I would really rather fancy. I know it goes against a lot of the people who are real Tesla fanboys, as they call them. I would really love a completely bare bones, Dacia version of a Model 3.
Yeah,
a rear-wheel drive Model 3 with grey plastic bumpers.
Yeah,
no
sat nav, no nothing.
Yeah,
really basic.
Woven Nan's hair and wool interior, real itchy. No big screen, just a USB.
Really simple, but ugly as sin. I wouldn't mind what it looked like if it has similar range.
I put it on lightweight, cheap wheels.
Yeah,
smaller, cheap wheels.
Yeah,
I'd love that. A proper kind of Tesco Basics.
Yeah. I tell you what, the car I've never driven or been in, but I just like the idea of it, was the Fiat Panda.
Fiat Panda's brilliant.
Yeah, I've never been in one of them.
Well,
but just to see them, and it looked like basic. The very early versions, it was really it was just a metal box with four wheels on it. It wasn't trying to do anything else. So it looked like it would be comfortable. You could see it would have good visibility. I don't know anything about the car, what it was like.
I can tell you it was one of the... It had a huge production run, lifespan. It was designed by Giugiaro. It was one of his masterstroke cars. And the early models had an asymmetric front grille, which put a lot of people off. Ooh. So they eventually, the later ones, made them a more conventional grille. If you can find an early one with the offset front grille... suits you. Ooh. And it's one of the few cars of its time that had a completely flat windscreen.
Yes, I do. That's what I remember.
Like a Beetle.
Well, or like a Land Rover.
Or like a Land Rover.
Like a Defender.
Yeah. So quite cheap to buy windscreens for.
Yeah.
Anyway, got off track
cheap. But all what we're saying is there would be a market, we both firmly believe, for the cheapest electric car that people could make.
Yes.
That has none of the flashy stuff, and when they unveil it at Geneva, everyone goes, "You're kidding!" In a way, you want a car. In a way, like the Prius. Not that we're going to talk about that a lot, but the Prius was universally condemned,
absolutely,
by every motoring journalist in the world, and then and went on to sell literally millions. They've sold now, and it's kind of proved itself. And then to have a car that people go, that like motoring journalists that like a Lamborghini or something just go, well, that's just a box. Why would I even bother with that? It's awful. It's ugly.
Funny enough, actually,
kind of what you want.
You've reminded me with the Panda chat to I need to put my hand in the air and apologise to viewers, listeners.
Yeah.
On the Geneva Motor Show report video that we did for Fully Charged, I actually never got around to doing a piece on Fiat's Centoventi concept, which was like a next generation version of what a utilitarian Panda could look like.
And
it was a really,
it was
cool.
there. It was on display.
It was on display, and it was one of the cars that was celebrating Fiat's 120th birthday.
Right.
And it was called the Centoventi, which is 120 in Italian.
Yeah.
And the great thing about this car was that it took the idea of the original Panda of being quite bare bones, cheap bumpers front and back. It was stylish, but really quite Spartan.
Yeah.
And we're really hoping that this will come to fruition as maybe an electric only Panda equivalent. And it's great because the car's potentially only going to be available in one colour, and you can change roof. You can change the wheel trims. There's not a lot going on with it.
Right.
But it's cool. It's basic, but it's stylish. A bit like a Citroen Cactus. The Citroen.
That's
C4
right. Yeah,
Cactus.
there are. So there's generally a car like that on the market, isn't there? Sort of super cheap, super straightforward.
Super cheap, but has something about it.
Has a bit of character.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
And
a little bit of character.
And that is the one car I missed at Geneva, which has upset a few people, and including myself.
Right.
I hit myself with the salmon continuously as punishment.
You can't see them all. I'm just doing a little bit of microphone adjustment, so I'm just apologising for the slight, because I've got a brilliant system here, but it's not quite working. Because there we go.
Got a system that isn't
I'm
working.
more comfortable. Yeah. Most of my systems don't work. But we don't need to go into my medical history right now. But no, tell me about Shanghai, what you've seen, because that the Audi, you just sent me that link. That does look.
Yeah.
Well, it's not quite what we were talking about, but it does look kind of simple, small, and not like a great big 3-ton SUV. So that really appeals to me straight away.
Yeah,
Nice
the
design.
Audi AI, AI Me. It's an autonomous city car.
I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. So it's meant to be autonomous. Oh, right.
Apparently
okay.
so. So
I'm not.
the AI Me has just been unveiled today at the Shanghai Motor Show, and it's a city car that would sit below the Audi A1, which is currently the smallest, cheapest Audi.
Right.
And it's like a squat little runabout thing, which I like. There's hints of Audi A2 about it.
Yeah.
If you remember the old Lost Leader A2, the all aluminium small A2, which was a proper hypermiler, petrol or diesel car, but it really light, great piece of packaging, a future classic for sure. They pronounce it AMI, so AI.
Okay.
colon me.
But so it's level 4 autonomous, which means because this is I think this is I've only talked to 3 people about this in the industry, but when I heard that notion that, well, I can't remember who it was, but he said, what we're trying to develop is an fully autonomous car that will never drive itself when there's people inside it. And you kind of go, well, what's the point? Well, then you go, oh, how does car sharing work?
Right.
How would it work really well is that you come out of a place, not necessarily your house, a restaurant, an office you've been in, a factory, wherever you've been, and you press your button and the car pulls up.
You're hailing.
You hail it. It pulls up right next to you. You get in it, and then you drive it. And while you drive it, all the insurance nightmares of how do you insure a thing? How do you the car's got to make a choice between the small child running across the road and the old man in the car, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't make that choice. When there's no one in it, if it's faced with an impossible situation where it cannot miss a human being or hurt, it just drives into a wall, or even literally blows the wheels off so it just lands on its belly and just so that it doesn't hit anyone. I mean, you've got far more opportunities for a car with no one in it to not be dangerous.
Like you say, it is a sacrificial vehicle.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I quite like
the idea of a fully autonomous car that if it's faced with a situation like you're waiting for it to come along the road, it's doing 45 miles an hour in a 50 mile an hour zone, super safe, you literally jump out at the last second and the car blows itself up.
It just shats its own wheels off and then just skids.
I like the idea of it just shats its wheels off, has massive hooks that fly at the back, tear the road up, and it stops in 2 meters.
Just drags its tummy along the ground in a sorry way. Well, this thing is quite neat in that way that Audis are. It's 4.3 meters long, so it's pretty compact. 4-seater.
Yeah.
It's got this bench seat at the back with like a wraparound sides. It's got plants growing out of the ceiling.
Yeah, the plants.
Which is a little bit concepty, but apparently it's to help reconnect city dwellers with nature and purify the air that they breathe.
Oh, well, that's always a good thing.
I've got a plant right next to me in my office in the hope that the rubbish that comes out of my mouth will get recycled back into usable oxygen at some point. The absolute bobbins. So 125 kilowatt electric motor on the rear axle, so rear wheel drive. Rear
wheel drive. I love that.
No word of quattro, but I'm sure there will be. 168 horsepower, 65 kilowatt hour lithium backed pack, and says Audi, it'll be able to travel for hours at urban speeds between 12 and 44 miles an hour.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense.
There you go, Audi. It's good. It'd be like you say. It's sort of a lower ranking BMW i3 with extra autonomy thrown in. It's a size which appeals to me more than the current e-tron, shall we say? Yes. So bring it on, Audi, because you can do great interiors. We all know that.
Yeah.
Hurrah for Audi.
Yeah, very good. I've just been scrolling down. I've just seen the Infiniti Electric Sports Saloon. Yeah, very, very nice looking thing, actually. It's kind of weird, isn't it? But I do quite like it. I mean, that's clearly a big, chunky car. It's not a small car, but it's kind of I'm quite intrigued by the front end of it, simply because it's big. It's very big, and it holds. I think Infiniti, the brand, does hold provenance in America and in Japan and probably in China. They have just announced that Infiniti, I think, are disappearing from the UK, but the thing is that nobody knew they were really here. No. So because I had to one time, in fact, when I interviewed their ex-CEO Carlos Ghosn, I had to meet him in the Infiniti showroom in the middle of London. I went, where the hell's that? I didn't know. And there was one on Piccadilly. So I've got a flagship showroom, and I'd cycled past it and caught the bus past it 40 times in the previous couple of years and never noticed it. So they didn't make a big impact here, did they? But you do see them. You do see Infinitis in the States. In the States, they're quite popular. It's just over here they've been hosing money at trying to build the brand, and they've not really succeeded. No. Certainly not in the way that Lexus did. Yeah. Or does, because Lexus isn't dead, but. No. Yeah. But so we should explain for the non-car aficionados, of which I hope there's many. Infiniti, that listen to us. Infiniti is Nissan's luxury brand. Yeah. In the same way that the luxury Toyota brand is Lexus. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, talking of Toyota, there is a Toyota at the Shanghai Motor Show.
Yeah.
Which is fully electric.
Fully electric.
Which it looks like we might not be getting it over here, but damn it, it's brilliant. And,
it looks really good.
It's upsetting because I
know
what it is, and this interests me because the Toyota IQ is no longer on sale. Their little sort of smart car equivalent, which could fit more than 2 people in.
Right.
Well, they've agreed to sell the rights to the electric powered version of that car called the EQ, which sounds suspiciously like Mercedes might sue them.
Yeah.
To a Chinese electrical vehicle startup company called Singulato, I think that's how you say it, which sounds like a posh Italian dessert.
Right. Yeah.
Singulato, which will market it as something called the IC3. And in return, Toyota will have the rights to buy Singulato's green car credits under China's new quota system for electrified cars. Now, this is happening a lot now, where brands are jumping into bed with one another just to buy their carbon do-gooding.
Yeah, because yes, they have, and someone's done it with Tesla, haven't they? It's in the works, that deal, but I can't remember which company. They're basically buying Tesla's carbon credits, so they can carry on selling diesel.
You're buying their books almost, aren't you?
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, it is. So this Singulato IC3 Urban Dream Chaser, what a lovely full title that is. That's what I call myself at the weekends. The Urban Dream Chaser.
Yeah.
Will be available to Europeans. It will be. The electric city car, based on the Toyota IQ. The 2 firms have signed a deal to license the design, giving the Chinese car startup a base for its first model and the Japanese giant experience of the Chinese EV market. It will also let Toyota buy these green car credits in the future, which could have a big impact on its plans for China. Production is earmarked for the end of 2020, with a bespoke powertrain along existing IQ parts, including the chassis, the brakes, the steering, suspension. It means the IQ will live on, which I'm glad about, because it is a bloody cool car, actually.
I have driven that, and it was a great little car. It was it was a bit like the Smart in that sense, where you see it and you go, I don't think I can even get in that.
No,
it's just so tiny and short. And then you get in it and you go, this is like a really big. It's like getting in a great big luxury saloon car.
It's a masterclass in packaging.
Yeah, no, brilliant.
And There's going to be some minor design tweaks with infotainment. The motors and batteries are being designed by Singulato. An NEDC range of around 186 miles is predicted. That's what, according to Reuters. That's where I've got that from. But yeah, if anyone out there ever owned an Aston Martin Signet, which was a Toyota IQ rebadged and restyled, and Aston bought that car. Yeah. Because they didn't want to get into trouble with the government for making big polluting cars. So this is like this. This is the second iteration of the Toyota IQ being involved in companies.
Other companies.
Yeah, it's a cool car though. I'm looking forward to that. I don't know whether we'll get it in the UK, but Singulato IC3, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. You know.
Yeah. Or urban. What was it called? Urban. I quite like
the urban. The Urban Dream Chaser. The IC3
I'm just going to,
Urban Dream.
Darling, I'm popping down to the shops of the Urban Dream Chaser. Do you need anything? But don't worry, I'm not going to IKEA because I could get some night lights. You have to get in IKEA.
I didn't. I didn't know this, but Toyota sold about 100. Electric IQ cars in 2012 and then discontinued it quickly due to concerns over the limit of EVs and including their high price tag. And
but I mean that was one of the very first electric cars I drove was the Toyota RAV E4.
Yes,
and that same car. And this is the whole thing. I'd forgotten about it. It was a long time ago. Paul Scott, a lovely man in Santa Monica in California, and the thing I always remember is his house was up on a hill above the coast, so he was really near the sea. You could see the sea from his back garden, I think. And it went down the hill, the road, and he said, "Just pump the brakes." As we went down the hill, and I went, "All right." And I was driving it, so I went, and you did hear a bit of a grating noise, because that's the biggest problem he's had with it, is that the brake, because it's salty air, the brake disc rusts up
corrosion.
really quickly.
Yeah,
because he doesn't use the brakes. And it was all those things. That's where I kind of learned. Oh, I see. You don't use the brakes as much because the car slows you down. Regenerative braking. This was got to be 2002. He's still got it. It still works. It's never gone wrong.
He's still got it.
It's still running. He uses it every day. Yeah.
Can you go? You need to drive it again.
I know. Well, when we're in California later this year, we'll have to drop in and see him because he's a solar dude. He does solar stuff. I don't know. He puts solar on roofs. I don't even know.
Oh, he's a
I
solar
think he's
dude.
retired. He's a solar dude.
Is he an urban dream chaser?
He is an urban solar dream chaser. But yeah, no, I mean, he's had that cut. But that, in a sense, that story tells you the problem of this technology is that it lasts too long, really. I don't know whether he's had batteries changed or anything.
In terms of lack of moving parts, meaning less to go wrong, meaning
there's just less to go wrong. Yeah.
Can live longer. I suppose what you'll find with EVs is people will trade up because of the chase for a bigger range for less cash.
Yeah,
and faster recharge time.
Yes, those two things are going to be the big driving things.
Those will be the thing. What will be great is more cottage industries setting up to retrofit better tech. Because I'd love to buy a second-hand BMW i3 for 12 grand right now.
Yeah,
and know that in the next 18 months I could take it to an person, and that person will go, "Do you want 250 mile range in that i3?"
Yeah,
and I'll go, I really do.
And 350 kilowatt charging. Yeah. Which reminds me, I've just heard from Fastned, lovely Fastned. They've just installed it's not officially open yet, but people are using it. It's open. Their Sunderland charging station.
Is it?
The first Fastned in the country, and it has a 350 kilowatt charger.
350?
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone just...
Was that your 350 kilowatt alarm going off?
That was my alarm to tell me to have a drink and go to the toilet and check to see if Robert Llewellyn's phoned you. It's a bit embarrassing. Never mind. It's happened now.
But yeah, I didn't realise they were doing that because what we saw... The ones we saw in the Netherlands were 150, weren't they? The ones at the Fastneds we saw.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. That's
and
right.
The one I used,
charging the Jag, weren't you?
Yeah, and I used a Tritium. I can't remember the company. Whatever they are, 150 kilowatt charger in Sweden, which did do the fastest. So it never got to 150. It got to 142 in the Tesla Model 3.
Wow!
And 142 kilowatts is charging the car at. It's like 5,000. No, it isn't. It was the most ridiculous thing. It was like 5,000 kilometers an hour. If you had a battery that could take that much, basically, it's going to charge it really quick. That's what it's telling you. I mean, that's
here comes the science.
Here comes now. Here, ladies and gentlemen, please listen carefully. This is some hardcore science. But the best way of describing it, and I tried this the other day on someone who's never knows nothing about electric cars, but they said they did understand it. 3-pin plug, 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
7 kilowatt charger, which you can put in any house. You don't need any special 3-phase or anything. Is 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Public charger that's 22 kilowatts, which you would use the same wire in, is about 50 miles an hour. Rapid charger is about 200 miles an hour. That we have now 50 kilowatts. Tesla is about 400 miles an hour, and all these miles an hour are miles of range per hour of charge.
Oh, okay. Miles of range per hour of charge. Okay,
and
the
then
rate of charge.
A 350 kilowatt charger is it's over
basically
1,000.
Thrust
it's over
SSC,
1,000 miles an hour.
it?
Yeah. So if you had a battery that was big enough, it would give you over 1,000 miles range in 1 hour, which means it will give you 250 miles range in quarter of an hour.
Crumbs.
15 minutes. Yeah. But the thing is, it never does that, because then you have to go into the explanation, because if you arrived in your Taycan at the 350 kilowatt charger, literally with it coughing its last electron into the electric motor, so it was as empty as you dared get it. You plugged it in. It might take 350 kilowatts for the first 5-10 minutes, and then it would start to taper off.
Because it's just pumping it in so quick.
It's pumping it in so fast, and as the batteries fill, it reduces the pressure on them. Although, don't you remember, we did see when we were at the Fastned offices.
Yeah,
they said they noticed that prototype Taycan was charging at one of their chargers because it was consistently taking 150 kilowatts for way longer than any other car. Do you remember they had a graph?
Yeah,
so,
they did,
so
which raised their suspicions, didn't it?
Yeah, that's what caught their eye. Yeah.
Well, talking of Taycan or Taycan as they
sorry, I've done it
call
wrong. Taycan.
I'm sorry, Taycan. Nothing to do with Liam Neeson.
No,
old joke already.
Yeah.
At Shanghai now, the Aston Martin Rapide E, which is their Taycan rival, 800-volt rival, has just been unveiled in its finished form, and looks great. It's the 4-door Aston Martin, the revamped version of which is electric, hence the Rapide E, and it's got over 600 horsepower. It's going to be made in Wales in their new Aston facility in St Athan. 155 cars are going to be made. There's some visual differences. The front grille is slightly different to aid cooling and aerodynamics for an EV powertrain, but it looks really very cool indeed. 8% improvement of aero over the old petrol-powered car. It looks Aston. It looks very Aston.
Right.
And it's got it hasn't got a V12. It's got 800-volt power battery pack in a carbon fibre Kevlar case, 2 rear-mounted electric motors, combined output of 602 horse, 701 pounds-feet of torque, and sub 4 seconds to 60 in that, 50 to 70 in 1.5, top speed of 1.5.
That's quite quick. As that's the one I think is the interesting one, because that is something when you experience that in an electric car, I think that's more impressive than the 0 to 60.
It's the 50 to 70.
The 50 to 70 is the thing. Because even my I always call it the Vickers Tesla. I really shouldn't. But if I'm on the motorway and I'm behind a truck and it's 50, and
you mash it,
it goes. It doesn't half go.
Yeah, I bet
that
it
still
does.
surprises me. 4 years later, I go, oh my god, I forget it does that. You got to be. But the one that I'll tell you, the thing that surprised me about this, because clearly this is such an exclusive car, and they only make it 155. They're making
155. Yeah. Range of, but
it's got a
miles.
65 kilowatt hour battery, which is way smaller than I would have thought.
Yeah,
in a way for that car. You think the smallest. What's the lowest battery? I mean, that's the same as the e-Niro and the.
It is. It's the same as the Kona and the e-Niro. Yeah, but in a car that's got 600 horsepower. So they've gone high on the volts and they've gone high on the horsepower.
So it can charge faster then, I would imagine then.
Yeah, it can charge...
does it actually say? I've been trying to find that bit.
100 kilowatts or higher of battery using a suitable charger. So 100 kilowatts or higher. I don't know how high. I would bet you it's 150. But then if it's
probably 150.
Yeah. So that car, I'm going to be in it in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm very much looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Not often I'm jealous when you go in when you do one of your special car things. Actually, I'm always
special
jealous.
Car things.
Special car, but I'm quite jealous of that because it's sort of, it's got all the easy criticisms of all the kind of elitist, electric cars are only for wealthy people. All those things are all verified to the max by this particular car.
They are.
But it's still great. I still love it.
It's still good. Well, it's Britain taking it to the Germans with the Porsche, and I hope that it'll encourage people like Rolls-Royce to crack on with EV. And Bentley maybe as well. But and there's another British brand who have just pulled the drapes off an electric.
Now that is, I like that. Yeah, the Lotus.
The Lotus. So Lotus haven't made a new car in about 175 years, and suddenly now they're owned by Geely.
Yeah.
Suddenly they've gone, we need to make a new car, chaps. So they've brought out two.
Right.
One of them is the Evora GT4, which has got a petrol engine, so you don't want to worry about that.
Right.
But they've got a Type 130 hypercar.
Ooh.
What does that mean, you say? What does it mean? What it means is, well, they haven't told us a great deal. I think it's going to be about 1,000 horsepower. It's going to be a similar length to the existing Evora, which is 4.4 metres long.
Right.
And it will sit close to the ground. It'll be about 2 meters wide. But if it's similar to the way it drives to the Evora is probably, out of all the cars I've ever driven, it's probably got the best steering.
Right.
It's incredible. So yeah, the total system output is tipped to exceed 1,000 horsepower, and it's set to offer a range of more than 250 miles.
Wow.
And
that is impressive. And they won't restrict. I mean, if people buy them, they'd make more than 150, I'm assuming.
Yeah. That's absolutely right. The powertrain has been developed with Williams Advanced Engineering, so we know they've done their time with Formula E, and
they've learnt a lot doing Formula E.
Yeah. The battery pack and the push-rod rear suspension will be visible under a transparent cover. Ooh, so we
love a bit of.
I think we're going to get some racing pedigree electric sex with this car. You know, I'm hoping. Got lots of downforce and lots of underbody diffusing and movable wing elements and drag reducing DRS systems and huge aero tunnel development incorporating lighting element. It's just going to. One thing that Lotus is really good at is bare basics. Exhilarating driving experience. If you've never driven, even if you don't like the way Lotuses drive, which some of them are a bit divisive for me, when you get in one, the connectivity between you and the car, the communication between the steering and everything is just like no other.
Yeah.
And that's why companies have always bought Lotus, because what they do is they buy Lotus and they strip it of all of its expertise in suspension and steering and handling, and then they throw it away 5 years later. But hopefully Chinese company Geely won't do that.
Yes,
it'll nurture it. I'm looking for. It's got scissor doors and everything, Robert. This could be on your list for next cars that you must own.
You must own. Yes, I don't know my constantly updated list.
Well, quite exactly. You just don't know where to turn anymore. None of us do. There's too much being unveiled.
There's too much. Yeah,
way too much.
So that's I'm just looking. That's the Taycan. I can't say it. Taycan.
Well, it's they say.
Sorry,
it's
I just
Taycan,
found pictures of that.
You can say it however you want. I just say Taycan. But
yeah,
I still think. Should we start calling it the Mission E again?
Well, I quite like the Mission
better.
E. I thought that was good. Yeah.
Just call it the Mission E.
Yeah.
Just having a sip of my water now, but mine's within reach.
Here's a question then. So because I'm now scrolling madly through trying to find other cars that are in Shanghai, but I'm just wondering whether Ford didn't unveil their Mustang-inspired electric.
Not that I've seen so far, but some stuff might come out after this podcast goes out.
Right.
There's a lot of domestic market only models. For
there
China.
will be, won't they? Yeah.
One of them and I don't know if this is going to come to the UK or Europe. I would love it. Have you seen it? The Aura R1.
Oh no, what's that?
It's a £7,000 electric car, which looks like more of a hat tip to the Honda prototype, e-prototype.
Wait a minute. When you say £7,000, you mean as in pounds money?
Money.
UK old-fashioned money.
Yes, sterling. Pounds sterling.
Pounds sterling. What's it? Sorry, tell me what it's called. I'll have a quick gander.
An Aura R1. ORA R1. And it looks like it looks like the Honda e-prototypes had a saucy night with a smart.
Oh my God, I love that little thing.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Honda are quite angry about that. But it's one of the world's cheapest EVs. Price starts from less than $7,000 once the Chinese government subsidies are taken into account.
Wow.
And they're saying it will travel up to 200 miles on a single charge, but who can say? But yeah, there it is, the Aura R1. It's just been unveiled at the Shanghai show.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. That's amazing. I love that. I mean, that is the sort of thing. It's basically what we were talking about earlier on. It's really, really simple, cheap. No one's going to go, oh my God, you drive the Aura R1. You must be a sex god.
Well, who knows? I mean, it depends.
Yeah, maybe they will. Yeah,
who knows?
Sensible people would.
I've genuinely never met a woman who is attracted to people that drive flash cars, actually.
No, I mean, that is, I think, one of the peculiar things of that. I've only ever heard men say, oh, I'd be so embarrassed getting out of that. Or, I want a car that makes me look good. And I just go, no, none of them make you look good, mate. Sure.
None of them make you look good because you've got your breakfast down your shirt and you're wearing terrible loafers.
You're wearing cargo pants and slip-on. What are those? Slide-ons. Slide-ons with yellow socks. Sliders.
You look like a swimming pool attendant. Yeah.
And out of condition, swimming pool attendant. But you've just got out of a very expensive Maserati in an Italian marketplace, and you think you look like a sex god. And all the women that are looking at you are going, oh, look at that poor fella. Look, he hasn't got a clue.
He hasn't got any idea. Does he realise he's got a load of old olives down his front?
Yeah. I don't know whether, because I'm trying to think that, like, if I was just, I'm going to do that. I'm going to fantasize. I'm sitting in a beautiful Italian marketplace and, having a coffee in the morning and reading something. A book, a novel. I'm reading a novel. I'm reading an Ian McEwan novel. And a sort of Maserati, a sporty Italian sexy car comes down and goes over the cobbles slowly, but with the engine rumbling,
growling over the cobbles,
and it stops on the other side of the road, and there's some kids on mopeds, and it goes vroom, and it stops, and then the door opens, and a really stunningly beautiful woman gets out. Now, do I think she is really cool because of the car, or do I think, oh my God, she's just a beautiful Italian woman, and she will think that I'm dirt?
It's hard to say, because if said woman,
I don't think the car would make any difference. If she just walked down the road, I would still go, oh my God, she's rather beautiful, and I'm far too old to be interested in such things.
I'd like to see that, obviously, but if she got out of a Smart 4.2 with scratches all over it, I'd be equally as
exactly. Yeah,
intrigued.
That's the thing. It wouldn't make any difference.
No.
Yeah, she got out of the most rubbish, knackered old car.
A Fiat Panda with the back end, with the back end smashed in.
The back end smashed in, and a box of chickens in the back, like a cage with a load of chickens in.
Yeah.
And she's wearing old galoshes and a torn frock and a funny hat. It doesn't make any bloody difference, does it? But if a really unpleasant, one doesn't like to judge people on their looks, but say a woman who does not trade on her looks,
quite,
was to get out of a very flash car, I wouldn't then go, oh my God, she's stunning because of the car. I'd still think, oh dear.
I'd think, I wonder what she's like at conversation. That's what I would think, Robert.
I'd think great face for radio.
Yeah. That's why we're here right now.
Yeah. This is a good idea.
I have to say, I'm looking, I've put a lot of effort into how I look today. It's just nobody knows.
I'm impressed. You look fabulous, knows. Johnny. No,
I've shaved. I'm moisturised.
Well, I don't know. The bleaching your hair was I would say a bit of a stretch, but I think it looks good.
I don't like to talk about it. I've sculpted my face furniture into some kind of Fu Manchu outfit. Yeah.
But no, I am impressed with the Aura R1.
Aura R1, that's that.
Because if somebody was to launch a car here, say next year, that was well sub £20,000 with 150 to 200 mile electric range, with 100 kilowatt charging, so it charged fast.
Yeah, so like Nissan Leaf or better.
Yeah,
range and rapid chargeability.
Yeah,
sub 20.
There is a demand. Because do you know Hilton Holloway?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I used to work with him many moons ago.
Right, I thought so. Because he made his 2 points. About this is all to do with the self-charging gate, which I really don't want to talk about, but. And he made a really good point, was it's very hard to make a profitable car, a profitable electric car at the moment, which I think is a perfectly valid point. I think a lot of car makers are struggling with that. But he said there's no demand for them. And I said, I agree with the point about profitability, but I know you're wrong about the demand, because I really do believe there is greater demand than supply. And that's the big hold-up at the moment. Two big hold-ups for adoption of electric cars in the UK is lack of reassuring charging infrastructure that's reliable, and lack of supply.
Yeah.
Because if there were, say, a shipload of Konas came in, 1,000 Konas, they would all be sold in 2 days.
Oh yeah, they would. They absolutely would. Yeah. That they were, well, and that is the hope of a lot of brands right now who are about to wheel out good decent range EVs that are going to be sub kind of 27 grand with an enormous range, and that's the plan. That's totally
But then the thing I don't know about, which I've heard, and I keep meaning to check this out. So this is a very informative podcast, listeners.
Check this out.
But check this out. But there is some legislation that comes in next year that to do with emissions. There's a new level of emissions regulation in Greater Europe. So choose how many countries that involves. Which means that a lot of electric car launches are being. That's why they always say coming in 2020, because they know they've got to have a really big list of electric cars in 2020. Now I can't remember what that legislation is.
Oh right, is this will be a low carbon?
Yeah, it's an endless
penalty.
tightening up of exactly. So they've got to have electric cars on their books that you can actually buy. I mean, that's this is the dream that this might actually come to fruition finally.
Yeah.
That there will be, that you go into a showroom and the guy isn't trying to sell you the diesel ones that they've got thousands of. He's trying to. They're happy to sell you an electric car. That's the.
We can hope. I think it's
changing. It is changing.
Yeah, and I mean, and the Chinese are pushing it more than anything because of their rate of development as a country.
Yes,
they've realised so quickly that they can't keep going like this, which is why suddenly the EV situation has been ramped up, and we've got cars called things like Leap. LEAP, and like a leap year,
right?
Which has just come out, like an electric coupe, and then they've got things that are called iWays. There's an iWays car, AIWAYS, the AY's U5. It's an electric SUV that will launch in Europe next year.
Wow!
There you go. It's 65 kilowatt hour battery pack with a range of 312 on the NEDC cycle, which nobody uses anymore.
No. Oh God! On the NEDC, yes, that's the one that
on
is
the NEDC.
That's the one that's within 100 kilometres accurate.
Yeah, that not massively
100 kilometres either way.
Yeah, 100 kilometres. That's ridiculous. Imagine if that was. Imagine if you use the NEDC for a breathalyzer test.
Yeah. Or even a sat nav.
Yeah,
I've got to get right to the middle of Paris. Well, we've got you to France. Isn't that good enough?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually Belgium. It's near France.
That would be great. We've got you within 12 miles. Is that okay?
Yeah.
We don't have any idea beyond here where that house you're looking for is. Somewhere around there.
But then, oh God.
The Xpeng P7, another name which you have never heard of, the Xpeng.
So these are all Chinese companies.
Fledgling EV brands. Xpeng is chasing the Tesla Model 3 with its P7 compact saloon. Wow. 311-mile NEDC vehicle with pop-out door handles, similar to that Tesla, and frameless doors, so very, very Tesla-ish.
Yeah. And are these all on display at Shanghai?
These are all at Shanghai. Yeah,
right.
These are all at Shanghai. The Way VV5, Way as in WEY.
Right.
The Great Wall Way.
Oh, the Great Wall. I've heard of Great Wall Motors.
Great Wall.
And they are actually a huge company. Great Wall is a massive. They're not like a little startup.
Oh no, Great Wall are massive, and Way is their premium brand.
Right.
And they've just shown this VV5, which is a electric only SUV. So yeah, it's coming to Europe as well in 2020.
Right.
There's loads. There's loads and loads and loads. The what is it? The Neo. The Neo. Do you remember the Nürburgring record-breaking EP9?
Oh yes, the was ludicrously fast one.
Ludicrous. Well, that company Neo has is only released SUVs to date, but apparently that will change in 2021 with the ET Saloon, which again was released, and it looks a bit Tesla Model 3-ish.
Wow.
Surprise. It's looking pretty good. 220 kilowatt dual motor setup with more than 300 miles of range.
Right.
I could go on, Robert. The Grove Granite, a name which simply nobody knows about, I don't think. Grove is a new company which made its debut at the Shanghai show, aiming to become the world's first hydrogen fuel cell only car manufacturer.
Right.
Its first model, the Granite. I think Dodge made a concept car called the Granite.
Right.
It rings true. Was styled by Pininfarina, and its
What?
Obsidian SUV will expand the range in 2020. Grove claims its cars will manage upwards of 600 miles of range, aided by regen braking. It has global ambitions too, having secured an agreement to expand to Australia and New Zealand, but it's too early to talk about a European launch. I've been getting this particular information from Autocar.
Right.
And also Car Magazine. So thank you to those two people for being reliable, good sources of news.
Right. Well, that is because that was the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which was, and while you've been talking that, I've been looking for the. Of course, I can't find the link.
You've been asleep, which is what
I just had a
don't
little
blame
nap.
you at all.
No. It was brilliant though. No, I'm really impressed with that list. We'll put links to all these things. We can put a link to that story so people can see if they want to.
You can see pictures and everything.
It's got pictures of all these amazing Chinese cars. But the article I read was about. So yes, that's right. I'm getting it the right round. So intense lobbying from Toyota in China to the Chinese government.
Okay.
And this is in the wake of their incentives for people to buy electric cars are being diminished, like they are all around the world. So that a few years ago you would get a reduction basically, and it was generally purchase tax, some sort of purchase tax that you wouldn't have to pay on an electric car, and you had to pay extra on certainly, which is what's damaged Range Rover, on importing something like a diesel or a petrol Range Rover. The tax went up on those vehicles because they were imported and they're and
they're dirty apparently,
and they're dirty, and I don't have to say apparently. Actually, I followed a Range Rover back home this morning, and that one was dirty. I'm not going to say all Range Rovers like that, but this one clearly had some major problems because it was like a World War I battleship making smoke to hide from the enemy. I mean, it was not running well.
Well, it's usually a lot of short journeys, clogging the old DPF.
Yeah.
And then you get onto the motorway and you kick it down and
kick it down. There's this massive. It was choking clouds of black smoke. I actually had to pull back just so I could see where I was going. I mean, it was, that sometimes you see a bit of smoke come out. This was not that. This was
chugging.
Yeah, this was really bad. I mean, it looked like it was about to fall to bits. But no. So what they're saying, what is happening, is that the Chinese government are really pushing for hydrogen fuel cells. And for HFC cars. It's mainly in commercial vehicles, which makes so much sense. So it's trucks and buses and stuff like that. But it's not that they don't want to do battery ones. They want to have a balance. So they're focusing their government support on developing HFCs, on developing the hydrogen refueling infrastructure. And and I think someone sent me this in the sense that I'd have a rant about hydrogen fuel cells. Absolutely the opposite. I mean, I think it's brilliant because it's not fossil fuels.
Well, no, it's clean emissions. Yeah,
it's really. I mean, I'm really, and the only problem I've ever had with hydrogen fuel cell cars, which is only at the moment, is the expense. Because people go, electric cars are too expensive. I'm going to wait for hydrogen. You can buy a hydrogen fuel cell car now, except you won't be able to unless you sell your house because they are mind-numbingly expensive.
They are.
And I mean that, but they will get cheaper. Of course they will, and the infrastructure will develop. And there's disadvantages and advantages. Yes, you get 600, 700 miles range, but you've got to go to a hydrogen fueling station in the morning when you wake up and you haven't filled it, whereas with an electric car it's full. All those things. Yeah. Are sort of other arguments, but
we've talked about heavy goods vehicles probably being the best candidate.
It's such a brilliant idea,
because they can package the tanks and
I mean the Nikola One a hydrogen fuel cell truck in the States it just feels more plausible than a battery truck. And we're talking a big rig. I mean, this is a massive truck.
Yeah, a semi,
really
as
huge.
They call them.
A semi.
I don't feel comfortable calling them that, but I
know you've had trouble with that. I've spent enough time in America to deal. I can now say semi without then just giggling a bit afterwards.
I'm still at the giggling phase, obviously.
But what about if you live in a semi-detached house?
Well, if you there was a song by James Blunt referring to a semi by the sea, if you remember, and I always used to think about that lyrics. Think, well, We've all been there.
Actually, I got a lovely tweet from a man who was listening to our last podcast as he was driving, and we might have been the cause of a fatality because he was laughing so uncontrollably at Trucker's Tizer. He nearly lost control of his vehicle. I love that.
It's true though. It's true. You see all the debris at the side of the road. You've got bits of sidewall of exploded tyres, and you've got.
Yeah.
I pulled up at a junction yesterday, and there was a jumper in the middle of a roundabout, and you're like, how'd you get a jumper in the middle of a roundabout? It's not a cyclist that just took it off and got bored. What? Who drives around with their tailgate fully open? Just jettisoning luggage. What? How do these things happen?
Yeah,
There's a trainer. There's always a trainer in the central reservation.
There's always one trainer.
One trainer, not both, just one.
Yeah, no, it's never both.
But Trucker's Ties is a thing. Sadly, it's
No,
large.
I'm absolutely with you. It definitely exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to just do this story because I just think I just like it because it's contentious. But I want to start with, in the same way as I'm not opposed to hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, although I've been accused of that many times. I'm not opposed to nuclear power. Dun dun dun.
Oh my gosh, aren't you?
Well,
theoretically,
in terms of a nuclear power station that is generating lots of electricity and no CO2 and no other emissions while it's generating and it's working properly, is the intrinsic ideology behind that is good. I don't think that's bad. The list of downsides is obvious, but that is good. The long-term storage of nuclear waste is always, and it's never been resolved, is a massive unresolved problem. And France has got the most nuclear power stations of anyone, got huge problems where they're going to store it. All their underground storage facilities are already full, and they've got gazillions of tons of really dangerous material, and they don't know where to put it.
It is a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, so EDF, big French energy company, very amazing, doing a lot of very forward-thinking, electric vehicle-oriented renewables. They're doing a lot of that, but they are building Flamanville, which is on the French coast, on the Brittany coast, in fact, quite near England, so not far from us. They built most of their nuclear power stations on the coast that faces England. I don't know what that says about Anglo-French relations.
Do they have a large blunderbuss which just funnels out any kind of emissions, any kind of dirty...
Sends it all over us.
Yeah.
Where shall we put all the more dangerous nuclear power stations? How about along the coast near England? How do you like that, roast beef? But anyway, the thing about this particular power station that's important is it's exactly the same design as Hinkley Point C, being built by exactly the same people, with exactly the same materials and the same funding. So it's Chinese-French co-production. And the Flamanville one is a little bit over budget.
Oh, cool.
It's billions over budget, and it was meant to start generating power when they first started building it in 2012. And it's now... there's now a safety. It's had a safety inspection, and they're not going to say what the extra costs are. But the Nuclear Safety Authority has come up with lots and lots of problems, and so it was meant to open in 2012. It was now meant to open in 2022. So only 10 years late.
10 years late.
10 years late. And it looks like the decision for them to resolve all these problems could push back the reactor's planned launch until after 2022. So, according to ASN, world faults. If you're in a car and it's got a world fault, it's either embarrassing or it could even be dangerous to you as a driver or passenger in that car.
It's a fairly dangerous sounding statement.
It doesn't sound good, but a world fault in a nuclear power station is a major obstacle to the exclusion of any rupture.
My goodness.
You want to exclude... You definitely want to... Excuse me, if you excluded all your ruptures in your power station... It's just...
yeah. How many pounds or euros does this cost so far?
Oh, I can't find it
Are
in
we
this
talking?
particular
We're
story.
talking tens of
like,
billions or something.
It's tens of billions over its original multi-billion euro budget.
So
Now, I mean, there's two power stations that are already under construction that are exactly the same design, and I can't remember which one it is, what the design is. Pressurized reactor.
It seems to me, based upon that, and I'm no industry professional on this, but it seems to me that signals that nobody can accurately quote to build a modern nuclear power station. So on the basis of the fact you can't really accurately quote, you shouldn't do it.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
Do you not think? Because at least...
Well, it is that thing. Well, it is like house extensions or house renewals, and you get a quote from your builder.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'll do it in 6 months and it'll cost, 250,000 quid. And you go, oh, okay, well, it's going to fly me. Okay, we'll manage that. And then he comes back after 2 months and said, it's going to take 2 years and cost you $1 million. Which is, that's the kind of difference.
That is the difference. You're going to go, you're having a laugh. This is unreasonable. You take the guy to court, or the female builder, if they're female. I'm a bit offended.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
I'd rather just put dozens of tidal and offshore and many other sources to work. Yeah, that's what's quite depressing about it.
It is. It's just. I mean, there's loads and loads of stories. I mean, I'll post a link to this one, but there's loads of stories about that, because the other one is in. I always say I have said Norway in the past, and I've been brutally and angrily corrected by Norwegians, because it isn't in Norway, it's in Finland. But there's another one that's exactly the same design, and that is even further delayed and even more over budget. But I now can't remember what that one's called. So that is definitely
called failure, Robert.
It's called failure.
It's sure as hell not called the Urban Dream Chaser. I can tell you that.
The coastal failure.
The coastal failure.
Yeah, is that thing of, it's also that notion that what we're witnessing in the energy market really rapidly developing is widely distributed and much wider owned. I mean, that's the thing. The one in, that local people can own effectively a power plant. I'm going to a village in Swindon in a few weeks where they've got a huge amount of solar in both on their like school building, the village hall, in fields around them that the community own, and that is generating
revenue,
actual revenue that the community is actually benefiting from. It has enormous support in the local community, and that is such a different model, and it doesn't require the same. Because the sides of an expensive nuclear power station that is easy to forget is the connections. So the substations, the high voltage pylons that have got to be put in, that cost billions.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a huge cost.
It does
to do that, because you've got one centralized massive generator. It's actually only, I don't want to say how many, but it's something like 3 gigawatts. Okay, it's 24 hours a day, winter, summer, all those things, but it's not like, I want it to be, for that much money, 300 gigawatts, so that it generates more electricity than the whole country uses.
That's kind of. In fact, the only thing that really tarnishes the view from my house to the vista that I'm overlooking right now, hunched over my microphone, is a string of pylons.
Yeah.
And although some pylons, European pylons, are interesting because they look a bit like space invaders,
they have different designs. Yeah,
but our ones don't.
No, and they're everywhere. They're really ubiquitous, aren't they?
Yeah.
But we've got used to them. We don't notice them. But then if you see a wind turbine, everybody goes. They don't actually. Not everybody. Some people get a bit moody about them.
They do, don't they? But nobody ever says, "Oh, I don't particularly like a pylon."
Yeah, but then also the thing about birds. I grew up in Oxfordshire where there was a big string of pylons near the home, similar to yours, near where I grew up. Coming from Didcot Power Station, so huge, really big, major voltage things. And I used to walk under there with the family dog in the morning, and you'd see a dead swan or a dead duck. Always, it's a really common sight underneath the power line. So they've been flying through that. Yeah, they kill thousands of birds. Well, there's wires that are really thin that they don't see, and they hit that when they're flying along, especially a big bird like a swan. And people go on about wind turbines killing birds. They do. There's no question. Wind turbines occasionally kill birds, but definitely much less than power lines, cats.
Yeah.
Cats are the biggest killers of birds in this country. Glass-fronted buildings. I didn't know that. I've spoken to someone in London who were terrified because it was actually a seagull, flew into the window, definitely died. But they thought it was a bullet. They thought it was a gun because it hit the window so hard because it couldn't see it. It was glazed with, and it looked like sky.
Yeah,
the reflection of the sky on it, so it didn't see it. That's really common. A lot of dead birds at the bottom of big buildings, which is a travesty of human folly.
Yeah, but it's just
to put the wind turbines
because it's less reported.
In context.
It's selective journalism in a way, isn't it? When a wind farm is blamed for increased deaths of birds.
Yeah.
Versus existing issues like pylons, like glass.
Because I talked to someone clever. Oh, at Scottish Power.
It wasn't
I was
me.
at Scottish Power.
Yeah. I was going to say.
Definitely was, and it definitely wasn't me into the mirror.
Yes.
But it was
none of us.
But I said, because I'd been on a nuclear submarine when I, for a TV show years ago. I loved it. It was brilliant and very nice lunch.
We all live in a nuclear submarine.
It was a nuclear hunter-killer.
Oh.
And when I went down from the, like the conning tower, like the bit that sticks up that Sean Connery stands on in Hunt for Red October.
Yes.
I went down the ladder. So exciting to go on it. So it was in a harbour. I wasn't out at sea or anything. And the man in the uniform who actually had a gun, and he told me that when I got down, I was to turn to my right and someone would meet me. So I went down the ladder, and in that time, I forgot which was left and right. So when I got to the bottom, I turned to my left. I mean, I was turning round to face the captain who was greeting me at the bottom, which was all very civilised. But when I turned around, a bloke opened a door and went, "Oh, Robert, I love Red Dwarf." And what he was doing was opening the door into the engine room, which is the most top secret thing that you can possibly have in the world. And I wasn't meant to see it. I could be tortured by ISIS for a year and I wouldn't be able to. I saw some white pipes. I didn't see anything. But anyway, so that was quite... I really blew it straight.
I've seen some white pipes.
Yeah. But what that is a nuclear... it's a small nuclear power station, effectively. Because that submarine can stay underwater for 6 months with a full crew of over 100 guys. It produces light, it cleans the water, it cleans the air, it does all that stuff. Massive amount of energy.
That is amazing.
So why can't we have those? And I said to this guy about that at Scottish Power, and I said, why don't we just bury one of those in a big container outside a new housing development? It will run for 30 years. You don't have to do anything to it. It's generating gazillions of kilowatt hours of electricity. And he said, have you ever looked at a military, like a Ministry of Defence budget? And I said, well, no, obviously not. And he said, no, nor has anyone. No one knows how much that costs, but believe me, it costs a staggering amount of money.
Oh my goodness!
to build that. I mean, it would be many billions. So
I love the idea of burying a submarine just outside.
Yeah.
Inland.
Why not that? When it's being decommissioned, well, just decommission the front bit with all the missiles in. Leave us the engine room. And we'll bury that and we'll run it because it's generating electricity.
Yeah.
That's what drives a submarine. Submarines don't have diesel engines now. They've only got electric motors. That's what drives them along.
Yeah.
And that, you just think that would make sense. But it's clearly, there are companies that are investigating the possibility of I don't know what they call them, micro-nuclear power stations. So it would literally be a container you bury in the ground. And it has a little manhole cover and you go in there once every 6 months to check that it's all right. But it's a completely self-contained...
Yeah,
it doesn't need refueling because it's not a great big high pressure reactor thing. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Other than the fact that
the idea of it's like microbreweries. They've become fashionable.
Yeah.
Will micro nuclear generators become?
Can we equate the economics and the environmental impact of microbreweries with micro nuclear power stations?
I think I'd
like to see a study on that.
It's inevitable. It's inevitable. It's going to be great. Love it.
But now,
my last question is.
Yeah, no, last question. I'm just checking the time.
I know we've been talking for frigging ages, haven't we?
Yeah.
My last question is, I'm researching timber framed houses.
Oh.
Now, I wanted to know, do we regard that as one of the most eco-responsible, friendly ways to build a durable house these days?
I think it's viewed generally positively, and I'm sure we're going to get comments to explain why that might not be the case.
I welcome comments on this one. I really do. Yeah.
But the notion being that if you use I mean, what's the alternatives? Are clay bricks or blocks, cinder blocks, or there are, because there's some stuff being developed now, like for instance, carbon capture and storage, which is a very disputable and questionable technology. But one of the things you can do with that is you can encase that carbon in building materials.
Right. Okay.
So you could almost, how that's done, I don't know, but that it's basically a carbon building block. And that has been tried out. I think they have been produced, but I don't know how economically viable they are. But the idea, if you use timber, obviously you can grow more trees.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it's absolutely dependent on the source of the timber and how it's done. And I think there's plenty of good arguments about the destruction of the wild environment. So people like George Monbiot rightly are kind of kicking off about that we've turned the entire world into an agricultural landscape, even if we're growing trees. So some of the big forests have all been planted to produce wood. So from a kind of CO2 environmental impact thing, it might be better, but from a natural world impact. So if you've got 70 million acres of identical trees planted in rows, which exists certainly along that
Scandinavia,
a huge amount of it, and they're producing millions of tons of wood. But there's like 3 bird species that can live there, as opposed to what would have been in the natural forest 5,000 bird species. So yeah. So I mean, I think it's a really difficult, because I mean, my house is wood, and it's really easy if you want to do an alteration. Because when we moved the wall to put the fridge in, I just got a saw out. Sawed the wall away.
You put your sledgehammer down. You got your saw out.
There was no bricks or mortar or dust. Just a bloody bit of wood. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I mean, to explain to viewers, a proper builder came in and actually built the wall. I didn't do that. Put a new wall up. But he did that in like 40 minutes. There was a wall there. Because it was just 4 bits of wood and a bit of plasterboard.
Brilliant.
So, from that point of view, from the point of view of the home, really easy to have, really well insulated.
Yeah.
It's durable. I mean, our house is older than me, so it's quite old. So it lasts longer than a human being.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our wooden, even shingle roof, that is Canadian cedar. Our roof is from Canada.
Is it?
Yeah, cedar shingles from Canada, and the ones on the back are coming up for 40 years old.
Wow.
We've never replaced them. The ones on the front we had to replace when we changed the building, but
that's brilliant.
And they're fine. We've never had a leaky roof. Everything else has leaked, including me.
But not the roof.
But not the roof.
Well, there you go, you see. I know it's commonplace in Scotland now, northern Scotland, certainly for new builds are predominantly timber framed.
Well, in fact, but even down here, there's a big housing development just down the road from us. No solar panels, no ground source heating.
Usual
stuff.
bobbins,
usual bobbins. But all the houses are timber framed. They skin them with stone.
Yeah.
But the actual frame structure of the house is timber. I mean, it's the most common building material.
Less concrete, less cement.
Yeah, so certainly less concrete. I mean, and if you clad it in timber, which like ours is, you don't build a stone external wall.
Yeah.
Then you've still got concrete in your foundations and all that stuff. So there's still an impact from that. But
it's lessening.
And I mean, it also, there's great alternatives. I mean, there's amazing new architects. There's a guy I'm meeting soon. Actually, I'll put you in touch with him, Johnny, who won a prize. And I don't know where the house is, but I've been told we can go and see it. He won a prize for the most eco house in the world. It's the lowest impact, least, whatever, all the materials used, and its energy use from the grid is effectively zero.
Wow.
So it's connected to the grid, but it produces all its own energy and heat. If you're building from scratch, that's the thing. I mean, things like me in this house putting in ground source heating, I'd have to rip the house to pieces. I'd have to it's just a nightmare. But if you're building from scratch, you just drill a hole under where you're going to put the house, put a pipe down it.
Exactly.
You've got heating for the rest of the time you're alive.
Yeah.
At phenomenally low cost.
Yeah.
And the increase in the construction is really minimal.
Yeah.
It maybe adds 10% to your total construction budget. So that's that's my gripe now, because having spoken to a guy in Australia who does these sort of houses, And he said, "Do you know Kevin MacLeod?" And I said, "Well, I've met him a few times. He's a very nice guy." He said, "I hate that show." I said, "Why?" It came out of the blue because he's a really kind of nice bloke. And he said, "Because he never does anything about the carbon impact of the building,
the concrete, the polished
and the concrete, and but also the energy use once it's built. There are always massive houses built by wealthy people who've got £1 million to invest in a huge, it might be architecturally stunning, but they don't. And I kind of argue, I'm sure he has, because he did do.
He's done some budget builds over the years.
He's done some budget builds, amazing one in the woods,
but
it is generally big, great big steel frame.
There's not a lot of people in tie-dye making walls out of old car tyres filled with mud anymore.
No,
which I used to enjoy.
Actually, the most recent I watched, which I don't think is a very new one, I thought was on Catch Up, was a lovely guy that he just liked building. So when do you think it'll be finished? Oh, soon. And it was filmed over like 15 years, and in the time they were doing it, he had young toddlers when they first went there. And Kevin MacLeod had a full head of dark hair. By the last one, the kids had grown up, had children, moved out.
Gone.
He was still building it.
Was he?
But it was a stunning, stunning building. I mean, that was big, but it was timber, and it was all recycled timber that he found. It was, and every bit of it was kind of found objects and repurposed and beautiful.
Brilliant
Stunning place.
Yeah. It's a labour of love.
Yeah, they do.
It's
a
life
so
project.
That guy was. Yeah, Kev's cool. I'm not going to diss Kev.
No, I've got time. I've got time for the MacLeod.
Yeah,
for sure.
And he likes electric cars, so he does no wrong in my book.
There you go.
Yeah,
I could see him in a Fisker Karma.
I could see him in a Fisker Karma. I can see him in a Rivian pickup.
Oh, you'll see one on Grand Designs in the next 2 years, won't you?
If I turn on Grand Designs one night, bit depressed, winter, and there's Kevin standing and he going, "I've come over here to see this beautiful building that this beautiful young couple are making," and then he walks away and it's a Rivian, I will twist up myself in envy and bitterness.
You'll spit at this flat screen telly, won't you?
I will.
And then have to wipe it off because it's your own telly. Just for a second, it will have seemed worth it.
Yeah. And my Mrs. Judy will say, "It's not about you or the car, it's about the house, so just get over it."
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got a Rivian.
You might have one by then. Who knows?
Yeah, I might do.
Never say never.
Okay. But we've got to say goodbye because we've been going on. I'll tell you what I've just realised, Johnny, that before we started this, ladies and gentlemen, we were going to talk about... fully charged live at the top of the show.
You said we're going to talk about it at the beginning of the podcast.
And we have gone on like a couple of old...
Like people in care homes.
Yeah.
With no particular agenda.
I'm waiting for my minestrone soup.
Oh, yeah.
On a tray.
Oh, a soup and a roll.
Oh, soup and a roll would be just the thing. But we just wanted to quickly mention. We're going to mention it a lot more because it's basically getting exciting, Johnny. This is the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do a brief history. So we're always going to do Fully Charged Live in June, and then there was a period of time, I think it's fair to say, where a lot of businesses in the UK were a little reticent to commit to anything because of various political
Brexit.
Socio-political upheavals. But the fact that that's been delayed until October it's been like the gates have opened and like in a canal and suddenly it's so they're all coming. I mean, it's going to be every company that you can possibly imagine that makes anything to do with cars, charging, domestic heating, buildings, all the stuff. I mean, it's going to be great for you, Johnny. It's really good stuff. Ground source heating, air source heat pumps, all those people are going to be there with amazing displays of stuff, as well as amazing collection of car conversions. I mean, that is really exciting.
Yeah, there is, and some concept cars as well.
Yeah, and what is great for us, it's always that way. I really love that when a company that we haven't approached, because we just think, I'd love them to come, but they won't, have now approached us
and said,
to say,
we
can
want
we
to
have
be there.
a thing there?
That's praise indeed.
Yeah,
praise indeed.
So
when is it, Robert? Tell me, I just can't remember. When is it?
It's on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of June, and it's going to be huge.
I can't wait. I'll be there.
I'm looking forward to it.
You'll probably be there.
I will definitely be there.
Yeah. You might just pop your head around the corner on the Sunday.
Yeah. How's it gone?
Everything all right, guys? As you were then.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed it? Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Good night. No, I'll be there the whole time. I'll be there the whole time. No, it'll be good. No, so that's we'll put a link under that, but it's at fullychargedshow.co.uk/live, I think is the web page. But something, if you look for Fully Charged Live in your search engine of any sort, it will take you there.
And thank you everybody who's been listening to these podcasts prior to this. As you probably know already, they go out every Monday.
Yeah.
So we do this level of chat every week. You know,
they're not always quite as long as this.
This is a long one, Robert. Yeah. Unless it gets edited down.
Yeah.
But it's a long one, so I apologise if people are really, really bored by this point. But I've learned some stuff.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. No, the Chinese cars is very. I could talk about Chinese cars for too long because I think it's really interesting how that whole. We must stop, but how that whole focus of what they're doing in China is sort of a mixture of terrifying and amazing.
It's the rate of development. Yeah. It's huge.
Well, even I love that the Tesla Gigafactory 3. I now understand that Gigafactory 2 is in the northeastern United States. I've forgotten which state, where they make the solar panels and the solar tiles and power walls. That's Gigafactory 2, and Gigafactory 3 is in China. But what is amazing was they broke ground in December and it's nearly finished, and it's now April.
Whoa.
And it is a massive building. I mean, if you were building a shed in your garden, fair enough, it's not going to take that long. But this is a building that would house your entire town. It's massive.
I might get a quote from them to build a house.
They would do it, for an ordinary house. The Chinese guy would come over. Yeah, we'd like to build a house today.
Six weeks.
No, not today. Tomorrow. No, take me today.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll sit in the garden then. If that's all right, and just look at it and wait.
Just watch it arrive.
Yeah, while you wait. Why not?
400 Chinese workers would put it up in 2 days.
Just click and collect. Easy.
But anyway, we've got to stop now. We've gone on far too long. But it's been great fun. Thank you very much, Johnny. It's been a delight, as always.
Thank you, Robert.
To chew the vegan fat.
Absolutely. Chewing the cud. Yes. Yeah.
Chewing the soya cud.
Soya cud. Soya cud. Thank you, everybody. It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me too. And if you have been, as always,
thank you for listening.